Fighting Game Theater.
Hello, warriors out there. I am joined today by the indelible Maffew, who is always the first person I think of whenever I hear the term bad fighting game movie.
Oh, I'm so happy. I'm the first thing you think of. Not only bad wrestling video games, but any fighting game movie.
Whenever I think of Cyrax jumping in the air and then the beat dropping.
See, this is why I like talking to you, Matt. You pick up on all the niche references, the walking wiki.
All the garbage. We are here today reviewing Tekken, the motion picture from 2010. Maffew, what is your experience slash history with Tekken?
Tekken, the video game series, I love. Tekken 1, okay, maybe not love. It's alright. Yeah. Didn't think too much of it. Don't think anyone else does. That's alright. Tekken 2. It's one of the first games I saw my friends playing. Went into their house and it was like, wow, a PlayStation 1. Ooh. And it was this cool 3D fighting game that looked like a 3D fighting game, unlike Balls 3D.
Plus 10 for a Balls reference. I thought I was done with that game, but it keeps coming back.
Yeah, I was very sad to see that on your worst fighting games ever list. And then you reminded me about everything. It was so great, that review. It's this. It does this really well. Does this really well? It goes, yeah, it did. Why? It plays awful. Oh, that's right.
That's why.
That's it. Yeah. Then I liked Tekken 2, but was never really good at it. Then Tekken 3 came out.
Then Tekken 3, exactly.
Oh, and it was a big change there. And I love Tekken 3. Not only for the main mode, because obviously it plays very well, fighting game style and everything else like that, because of Tekken Ball
and Tekken Force, all the little extra modes they threw in that port.
So Tekken 4 didn't play. No one I knew had it. Never had a chance to play at the arcades. I just went, all right.
Do you know anything about it?
I saw the video of Bob Sapp playing it. That's it.
And that's it.
Good enough for him.
So the other thing with Tekken 4 is that they got rid of a bunch of characters again and put in new characters again, and they just done that in Tekken 3, and that all of its stages were 3D, like in Virtua Fighter 3, so you're on different heights and stuff, and you were slamming into walls, and it made combos weird, and a lot of people kind of cite Tekken 4 as that's kind of the weird one where I don't know. They had some cool ideas, but they didn't really work out. Then for Tekken 5, they went back to how it played more traditionally.
Right, that sounds almost like Virtua Fighter 3, which is an interesting step back for a series like Tekken, which had already grounded into fine dust at that point, so fair play. Tekken 5 went back to live in Tekken after that. I think that's at the point I realized, oh, this game's worth playing just to see the endings. Yeah,
exactly.
So I remember me and my housemates at the time just ran through the game just to see the wacky endings. Big highlight seeing Heihachi strap his annoying family to a rocket and just going, ha 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 ha. I'm like, oh, what a great ending.
Oh, what about Tekken 6? Because that's one where I didn't play it that much at all.
Oh, loved it. That's when I bumped into friends around the area where I live in Newcastle upon Tyne, where they were getting into the proper fighting game. Oh, we've seen Evo. Let's do that, guys. It didn't work for Tekken. They just all ended up playing Smash Brothers and getting banned from various gaming shops because of having sex in the toilet. So so that was good. But then, that was good, but paled in comparison to Tekken Tag Tournament 2, which you played even more than Tekken 6.
Really? That's
big fan of Tekken Tag 2.
I wasn't going to get Tekken Tag 2, but then it came out on the Wii U with Mario costumes and shit. And then I was like, oh, I'll get it there. But then I didn't because no one played online on the Wii U, so I just never wound up buying it.
I didn't even know that about the Nintendo outfits. That's amazing.
Yeah, they have Link. You can make a Kazuya wear Link's outfit. You could get 1-up mushrooms and get bigger. This is all real.
I believe you, but it's the first time I'm hearing
talk about a Wii U exclusive thing. They're like, I don't know, absolutely not. I'm like, no, it really happened. It was a Wii U only thing. So,
wow.
But Tekken 7 is now this. Probably aside from Tekken 3, the best-selling Tekken with all these crazy crossover characters and stuff. But what we're dealing with today, the motion picture in 2010, the newest Tekken game released at that time was just 6, even before Tekken Tag 2. Because I believe Tekken 6 was 2009.
This came out the same time as King of Fighters, right?
I think so.
Right.
2010, I think, yeah.
Yeah. It seemed to me like in the UK, they all came out at the same time with the same, like, rubbish identical packaging, like with that and Dead or Alive, like, explosions behind them and all that. So I saw King of Fighters. I paid money to see King of Fighters.
In the cinema?
No.
In the cinema, you say? You're confirming in the cinema, big bag of popcorn, huh? Wow.
Yeah, I booked up an entire row because all my friends would come with me.
They never showed up.
Yeah. So I saw that, and then I saw, like, it looked like to me, without doing any research because I wasn't really that invested in it, like, okay, did the studio just put all of these out at the same time? That and Street Fighter Return of Chun-Li? I'm like, I'm good. I'm good.
I'm very excited because I watched this again, and I do have opinions. I hope you have opinions too. Do you have opinions, sir?
I hope I have opinions as well, yes.
Up to this point, like I said, Tekken 6 was the newest Tekken. Please bear that in mind. But this is a movie that basically adapts Tekken 3. They just jumped ahead and said, you know what? That's the most popular Tekken. Why don't we start from there? This was directed by Dwight H. Little, who most of you out there will remember from his work on Brandon Lee's Rapid Fire. The Rapid Fire, you've not seen it?
Even if I had, I deny all knowledge.
His other movies to his credit are Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. If you don't remember that one, that's okay. And finally, and most importantly, he directed Free Willy 2, Unleash the Willy. What's a bit more interesting is the writer of this movie. You're going to love this. Alan B. McElroy. He's collaborated with Dwight on Rapid Fire and Halloween 4, but his other credits is what I want to talk about. He wrote 1997's Spawn, based on the comic book character. He also wrote Ballistic X versus Sever, Antonio Banderas versus Lucy Liu, mathematically one of the worst movies ever made. I think it has like a 2% on Rotten Tomatoes. And finally, The Marine with John Cena.
In another life, we could be good friends.
In addition to that, he wrote Marine 4. And finally, he wrote Condemned 2. Not the game, but the Randy Orton sequel to Condemned 1, which I just found out existed today.
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
And you're in the business of knowing that.
I'm in the biz.
Quick rundown of the principal cast. We have John Fu as Jin Kazama. Have you ever heard of John Fu? That's okay. He jobbed to Bruce Wayne as a League of Shadows member in Batman Begins. He played Ryu in the fan film Street Fighter Legacy. Holy shit, I've forgotten that existed. That was the one-shot, it was like a 10-minute fan movie that was on YouTube, and they said they received Capcom's blessing, and that's it. So he played Ryu in another, I couldn't believe that. And finally, he played Soldier Number 2 in Universal Soldier Regeneration. That's the fourth film that was released after the Goldberg one.
Oh.
Have you seen the Goldberg one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wait, were you in the Goldberg one?
I played Soldier Number 2.
Next, playing Kazuya Mishima, we have Ian Anthony Dale, who just a year later played Hanzo Hasashi, Scorpion, in Mortal Kombat Legacy. This is the one that had Michael Jai White, again, Spawn as Jax, and of course Jerry Ryan, 7 of 9, as Sonya Blade. I read this great quote. "Hey, Jerry Ryan, why were you in this Mortal Kombat thing?" And she goes, "I owed a friend a favor." That's it. She never came back. She would have made a great Sonya Blade. Finally, we have the man, the myth, the legend, Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa as Heihachi Mishima. Look at this fucking legend. He was the best part of the Mortal Kombat movie, and he's the best part of this movie. How do you think he did overall before we get into it? Like, when you saw that it was this guy, what did you think?
First of all, one of the things we'll say about the positive about the film is that a lot of the characters do look like who they're supposed to look like. And Heihachi, they did a good job with them. I'm happy. It wasn't like, oh, he's bald in this because the actor refused to have the little thing on the side or anything like that. No. Went full on with a cotton wool and the Pritt stick. It's a lot like him. Some of the demeanor, obviously he's not... Oh, I didn't feel like doing a lot of action scenes because that's one of the reasons why we like Heihachi Mishima so much, because he's an old dude who fights in the games and he's still keeping his corporation together. He doesn't do a lot of that. That was a shame. But the fact that I went, hang on, wait a minute. Is that the other guy who played the other villain in the other tournament-based fighting game movie that we all love? It bloody well is.
In terms of the setting of this movie, as near as anyone's guess, I'm gonna throw over to you in 1 second. Is Tekken, the video games, are Tekken in a very similar universe to our own?
I thought so.
Yeah. Whenever I see stuff like in endings of Tekken games, I'm like, this looks like they're showing like, you know, people bathing like at a pool at a resort, and there's towns and there's people just walking around as normal. The only difference is that, like, pretend it's our world, it's just that Amazon hosts a sponsored tournament every year where dinosaurs and robots fight. Take me there right now. This movie decides that it's going to be in a future dystopian world that's running low on chocolate and oranges, that the Iron Fist tournament is pretty much the only thing people can do or enjoy or watch. And I get a big bang of the Running Man off this. Do you?
A bit of Running Man. And when they go, all right, I'll give you 100 real bucks for an orange, I'm like, all right, now it's Waterworld.
I think they had a set left over from another movie, and they're like, well, let's just make this a dystopian, like, you know, gulag where everyone's scrapping to survive.
I agree, because obviously we'll get onto the main plot and go as we go along, but the opening few shots with like the military base, I'm like, wow, this film looks like it has a huge budget. And then we fast forward like a few minutes and goes, wait, where'd it go?
All that opening shot, it looks like it was filmed in different locations in different times, but then like when the movie starts proper, I almost want to say it's like royalty-free footage or something, right, where they're setting up the world or whatever.
Like the start of Street Fighter the movie.
Yeah.
Like the Allied nations sending in troops.
There's a lot of parallels where someone, either the writer, the director, whoever, watched Street Fighter and watched Mortal Kombat and said, well, let's take this bit. I like that bit of that, you know, that type of thing. This whole opening montage we're talking about is narrated by Jin Kazama in his most emotive, passionate, monotone expression that he can muster. He screws up Tekken lore in the first 3 seconds. The world is controlled by a bunch of big corporations, and collectively, these corporations, what are they called together? The group, the stable.
Iron Fist.
It is such a minute detail, like who really cares? I want to see the characters and I want to see them fight, but it's just like, why did you change that? You didn't really need to. You can say there's other corporations, but these other corporations include Russia Corps, X-Corps, Brickhauser, and Eiderdex, which sounds like some type of boner medication. North America is controlled by what corporation, Maff?
Why, the Tekken Corporation. I love video game adaptations. Ongoing love of having a completely ridiculous, fact-filled opening few minutes. I have people going, wait, I'm the target audience for this. If I leave now, I get to get my refund. It should have gone full Yui Bowl and be like, these companies are known as Iron Fist. The East, controlled by Who Gives a Fuck, You Stupid Nerd, Inc. And lol, I can't believe you paused this on the DVD, you fuck incorporated.
I did pause it on the screen where it shows all the corporations, so they got me. This year, Tekken, the corporation Tekken, is holding the competition, and it all takes place in the walls of Tekken City. Vince McMahon from the Scooby-Doo movies, super jealous right here. I couldn't believe it's called Tekken City.
I did not accept any of this. All right, evil corporations own half the planet. That's relatable now more than ever. Well done, Simpsons predicted Tekken. But but the way that they control, or keep control, is with fighting tournaments. And it's only alluded to later on, like, how exactly, is by Jin going, look at the ratings. So I can only assume Nielsen boxes is what is the secret of the Mishima success.
I think so, but I'm not like 100% sure because they also allude to something called the Terror Wars that I assume had tons and tons of terror, and that the corporation somehow quelled that. So I think there were like barbarians or like Warhammer shit happening, and that the corporations kind of said, we're stomping that out. No more barbarians, no more Warhammer, no more terror wars. And now it's just these corporations, but they don't go into it. Not that I want them to go into it, because I've already checked out a little bit in terms of the lore. I'm like, oh, it doesn't matter anymore. You already got it wrong. I don't care. I'm past that now. We get a quick little scene of Jin squaring off against Brian Fury, and a wicked bass line comes in, and we are assaulted with the Tekken logo.
Then the title music, probably by the band who helped kickstart the film, kicks in. It's new metal, so by 2010, it was only 7 years outdated. I was clearly enjoying this a lot.
But the movie takes place in 2039.
Oh, this be the equivalent to this.
Classical music now.
All right, they're playing this on the. It's the equivalent to Hank Williams for the tech after post-terror roar.
The two old guys in The Simpsons with the huge like stereo. During this edgy, like, you know, bass line that comes in, it brings us through the opening credits scene that states, 5 days earlier. And I'm like, oh, wow, they're getting fancy with this. Jin's running away from something. You're not told what for a little bit. He's just parkouring his little heart out. And we're introduced to the Tekken soldiers that I was like, oh yeah, these guys appear in a lot of the intros. They work for the corporations, guys with cool masks, and they're always shooting. But these guys are referred to in this movie as what?
Jacks.
So they're Jack. They're the robot Jacks. And they're called Jacks because it's short for jackhammers.
For Jack Tunney, who was, of course... the leading force in maintaining law and order in the WWF in the early 90s.
Just call them the Tekken Force. It's such a weird thing to, again, do, because they're like, okay, well, let's just cram a reference in there. Let's call them Jacks.
Some more low-lit parkour as the guy tries to run away from the theme song.
He gets into a resistance hideout. There's a resistance movement fighting Tekken's domination. And this is where I'm like, oh my God, this is so much like Running Man now. It's the same thing where there's like an underground broadcast that's fighting against the evil corporation. And the Running Man like show is the Tekken tournament. The Iron Fist tournament, whatever the fuck it's called. The Iron Fist tournament. And what was Jin running from? He stole a little silver bomb that's actually a hard drive that can hold, brace yourself,
20,000 gigs.
This is the Reddit going, I need a really big number. What? How about like 20 terabytes? No, that sounds too small. Let's
20,000 gigs.
20,000 gigs for the secret internet. I put the dude gets let in by the super secret hacker site last seen in Lawnmower Man 2. The dude's hacker friend, who obviously has long hair, Jin doesn't know who the Beatles are, to demonstrate that art has been eradicated by the evil corporation. Hang on. A society that doesn't have to listen to Paul McCartney simply having a wonderful Christmas time every December. Sign me up, Mishima!
Jin cares not for this resistance movement. He just wants to survive his day-to-day, so he pieces out and we catch our first glimpse of Heihachi Mishima. Someone on the hair and makeup team were given a picture of Heihachi from the games and told, make this work.
Then Heihachi shows up on a giant screen to voice his opinion to the crowd, like that book that no one's read. Anyway, the Iron Fist tournament is taking place soon. Why? Because Tekken and peace through order.
Heihachi brings it up later. He's like, oh, peace through order. We stopped all the barbarians and the Warhammer. So, like, peace through order. And, like, I did a good thing. And everyone's like, did you really, though? We cut to Tekken. We cut to an arena within Tekken City. And I actually really like this part because Mortal Kombat was a mystical tournament most people on Earth didn't even know existed, and Street Fighter was a war, like, hostage negotiation in a third world country, but this presents Tekken like a big global tournament, and there's glitz, there's glamour, but it's real fighting. It's MMA, like, mixed with the pageantry of professional wrestling, and that was kind of refreshing to see it, because Tekken, the games kind of present itself like that too.
Yeah, I was going to say, they get ready for the next battle, all the Spain stuff like that. So, yeah, when they show the arena, and later on they show the digital stuff that we'll probably talk about, I'm like, oh, that's nice. That's a good way of getting around that, while there's crazy stages and stuff like that. That's a positive.
Like, I guess that's like a production design thing, or maybe the writer, but like it's smart that they do that, because it gets around the fact you have no budget. We can't go around to like Finland and Japan and film there. So let's at least have little sets and production value in the tournament itself. So it's one of the positives, right? They have these announcers. They have these two Michael Coles, right? that are not very entertaining. If you had Heihachi be the announcer, Tagawa, the actor, doesn't have to do a whole lot. Just do a little bit of voiceover. You could have had his voice in it more without him having to do like a whole lot. Would have been an improvement. We are introduced to Heihachi now and Kazuya proper. And Heihachi is Hulk Hogan, Kazuya is Brett, and Brett is angry that he's not getting the torch passed to him.
One of the coolest bits of Tekken, I remember like getting into it, because the opening montage showing, well, Heihachi threw his son off a cliff when he was young to see if he was man enough to like compete. So then obviously in the ending, you know, he's like, all right, guess what, Dad? Oh no, bye. You know, and then later on he tries doing it with Jin, and then Jin turns into Devil. It's like, oh, that's a cop out. It's always been like, no, he hates his dad. That's established quite often. So I don't blame the film for being this heavy-handed, but it is funny because it's literally Starscream from the Transformers movies going, I hate that Megatron.
It really is. Good Starscream, by the way. That is all very true, but I kind of mean more on like his attitude, where it's like Kazuya is just evil. He's cool and he's evil, and he's like, I'm the strongest ever. I don't know if you agree, but this Kazuya in this movie is this sniveling corporate asshole who's just like, I want profits, and it's not a good look for him, that character specifically. It is a good look for Lee Chaolan if he was thrusted into this narrative. In the Tekken anime movie, he plays this role very well, and he does in the games, where it's like he doesn't care about being the strongest, whatever. He just wants the Mishima Corporation to himself, and he's like, he is the sniveling guy. So all off the bat in this scene where Heihachi and Kazuya are arguing, for Kazuya, I'm like, this isn't right for him. How do you feel?
Yeah, when you play the games, and I was one of those nerds that I think we said the Mortal Kombat thing and Street Fighter, King of Fighters, I forget, they all blend together. It was that I was the nerd who would read the plots in the little books that would come with the games. So I was like, oh yeah. So I actually like the fact that Tekken 1, Heihachi bad, Kazuya good. All right, Tekken 2, pretty much the same. As soon as Jin arrives, suddenly Kazuya's like, no wait, hang on. I hate Hachi, but I don't like you either. No, this isn't. No, stop. Whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah, let's slow it down. Way down. So that's what I like. It's actually a bit of development, which is very rare to see in most fighting games. Like going, no, I want it. So it's very heavy-handed, but it serves the plot. If Jin wasn't in this, it would be a bit silly, but it's like, well, what else is Kazuya going to do? That's all he does in the games now, is just lose. Heihachi is giving control over to the jackhammer to his son. He immediately bitches about being held back to use the jackhammer of plot.
I wonder if giving exclusive control to this huge force of indestructible robots will bite me in the ass. Jin runs back to his mom. They live a simple life in Tekken City.
I think we've actually skipped a scene.
Oh yeah, what is that?
Jin goes to the bar.
Oh yeah.
Jin goes to a bar and watches some TV presenters talk about some of the characters that will not be appearing later. Like in that sequence in King of Fighters, the movie, where they name drop and go, "Oh my god, Mr. Big just fought Duck King." Ooh, can we see it? No. Barman tells him he's out of credits, so tap out. He has money. Oh, okay, you're tapping in. Jin goes to the cool dealer and buys coffee and oranges for $100 because evil society, etc., etc. Jin declines offer from the freedom fighters, but Jin's okay being a brick in the wall and declines, like Rick from Casablanca. Jin, you have to hide me, Jin.
So yeah, he after the bar, he goes back to his house with his ma. They both live their simple life in Tekken City, and that's so weird to say it every time. We live in Tekken City. Jin is, of course, banned from participating in Tekken, which means that he will participate in Tekken. Kazuya decides to lead a raid with his army of jackoffs. They hunt down radio pirate signals, but he's also trying to track down Jin. They don't explain this, but I think it's because, like, oh, some guy stole our Silver Ball hard drive with the 20,000 gigs, and it's that guy. Because what happens later doesn't really jive to why they're chasing Jin specifically now, and they even have, like, a computer readout saying, apprehend Jin. So they shoot a CGI missile into Jin's home. Jin, though, where was Jin at this time? Was he busy fumbling with a bra?
He certainly was, Matt. Jin and the no-name try to have sex, but the Jacks interrupt to go kill his mum. This may cause issues later on in life. The Jacks, by the way, have kendo masks, so they can reuse actors. Oh yeah. I love that martial arts trope.
So Jin gets spooked from the jackhammers that are looking for him. The mid-coitus is left undone. He runs back home to Ma, and he gets injected with such a huge amount of protag fuel because he gets to see her get blown the fuck up in a big... no, it wasn't... The missile was CGI, but the explosion very much wasn't. It was a decent explosion for a movie like this.
It was. But King Lear's son, Mishima, orders the Jacks to burn everyone and everything, including the Jacks, because he's evil. So bye-bye Jin's mum, who sadly doesn't instantly respawn with dubstep.
Jin blames Heihachi for this because he sees Heihachi posters everywhere. He's like, that's the guy. And he decides to honor his mother's last wishes of not taking part in the tournament by doing the exact opposite of that. It's very fortunate. How fortunate is it that there's an open call for any rando to join Iron Fist? Who does he have to beat to get into Iron Fist, though, Maff?
Oh, just some nobody. Just some little lone person called Martial Law.
Guy that's been in every Tekken ever. Like, and he's just... Well, no, he wasn't in Tekken 3 because he got replaced with Forrest. But...
That's right. And, Matt, who plays Martial Law?
It's an actor like Kung Lee, I believe his name is, but I'm not
exactly.
What has he been
Kung
in?
fucking Lee, he's been in Strike Force. He has a victory over Frank Shamrock, amongst other people. So, I'm going to say right here and right now, I think Martial Law was the best thing about the Tekken film, just because of that.
But it sucks because he's just like a job, like he lost. They explain, Michael Cole explains that Martial Law lost like a preliminary thing, so now he's like delegated to being in like the poor sector of the city, and he's just fighting anybody. If anyone beat him, then they get a shot. Like, that's a huge demotion. This open call is being emceed by actor Luke Goss, who most of you out there might remember for every role that Jason Statham ever has turned down. Because he'll take them all. Do you have anything on Luke Goss?
I'll put the British Aussie dude calls people wankers and says he'll give $100 if they can last a minute with Bonesaw. It was amazing to see that he is actually from London, but I think he's trying too hard to do British, because it's like, wait, is he?
A little bit.
Yeah.
The only thing I think he was like the really powerful, like weird mystical prince in the second Hellboy movie.
Yes, he was.
Jin is led to a cage match, which is already in progress, and this is where Kung Lee awaits. I do appreciate how accurate his costume is, though.
Yes, I 100% agree. We'll get on later on, but the costumes and the accuracy of the costumes they did in this is where they absolutely put a lot of effort in, and I'll obviously rinse the rest of the stuff that's happening in this weird film, but that, yeah, kind of coked he is.
They mention again how Law fought Paul Phoenix, and it was an amazing fight that we don't get to see, and that character never appears. Thanks, movie, for reminding me of that.
He fought the Law, and the Law won.
This fight is fine. It's our first, main fight. There's one or two decent shots. There's a lot of MMA stuff, though. And it's a little bit marred by, some quick editing and some shaky cam. What did you think of this first fight?
Yeah, thought exactly the same. I was more amused by the fact that Heihachi is shown watching the fights. Oh, wait, of course, it's a corporate event that looks like a secret underground thing. Raw Underground, we hardly knew ye.
How long did that last? It lasted for 4 months?
About maybe 3 months.
Jin wins with he jumps off the cage. He jumps off the lion's den walls and does just a big punch. And I think someone says, maybe Steve says this, oh, that's your move now. And I'm like, is it? He's like, oh, that was an impressive finish. And it kind of comes back a little bit later. But I'm like, oh, it's jumping off a cage, not Jin's spinning uppercut where he has a bunch of electricity and then just pops in the air. No 3-hit God Fist combo, nothing like that. They definitely do away with video game fighting, and they're just let's just have MMA. There's a lot of that in this. How do you feel about, if you're watching a dumb video game movie, do you want MMA stuff, or do you want Raiden doing flips over a green screen?
I think we really got spoiled with Mortal Kombat, and I'm going, you know what? Fuck it. Let's have Liu Kang do the
bicycle kick.
The bicycle kick, and with editing, it kind of works. Oh, that's right. Scorpion could just CGI the snake out of his hand. It's fine. And it's like, well, what are we supposed to do? No, put electricity and punch him.
Jin wins. Steve Fox then whisks him away to Tekken City, where he can officially start the tournament, and we move into Act 2. Hard cut into Kazuya making whoopee with Nina and Anna Williams, but he can't stop thinking about his elderly father, which we are all want to do, really.
Heihachi's son fucks a lot of dirty whores and talks about how we should have Tekken now.
It's uncomfortable, this scene. It's room levels. When there's sex scenes in the room, I just big bang of that off this, and I'm just eh. In mid climax, Heihachi walks in and admonishes. He looks around. And he's like, "What's all this?" And he's just like, "I was having sex with women. What do you want me to say?" He's like, "You should be taking care of the Tekken preparations." He's like, "It's already been taken care of. If Kazuya got the work done, if it's EOD, if it's end of day, he got all his tasks done, he got all his emails done. What the fuck is the problem?" This is where for a second, I was like, "Ooh, Heihachi's the real bad guy here."
Yeah, I was playing Tekken ball. They were in her mouth.
I was feeding Gon.
Heihachi shows up, it's like, something is telling me you can't be trusted, so I'm not going to do anything about it. There's no reason to give a shit about Kazuya, so it's just like the games once Jin showed up.
Heihachi's completely wrong. Again, Kazuya looks like he's about to cry. We are then thrusted into the character introductions for the rest of the cast. And all of these, each one is represented by a different corporation. The ones that were, told that we were told about in the intro. And this is where I get, this reminds me so much of Biofreaks.
Oh wow, we're naming all the classic fighting legends during this. Yes.
Every warrior was built by another corporation. They're we're gonna, I'm represented by this company, and they do this, and it's weird. I tip my hat to you, Matt. It's weird because you don't really need this, but at the same time, that makes sense. The corporations would want their own, heavy hitter to get in there and try to win. What do they win? We're still not sure. Heihachi says time and again, winning Tekken gives you power. What What is the power? Explain. When you see all of these warriors in the ring, I got excited. When you see all their accurate costumes and they're standing in the middle, it's. Would you like to give us the character rundown? Do you have like a little rundown of who we're introduced to?
I certainly do.
Go ahead.
We get the rundown. It's weird that they all get introduced in one little segment. It's like when they announce the Rumble competitors before the Rumble happens.
Right.
Would be cooler if they introduced them there, but you know what? Doesn't matter. A pretty good-looking Raven, Eddie Gordo, Sergey, Anna and Nina Williams, Christy Monteiro, Miguel, Yoshimitsu. That's the realism factor up there. I know you're a big fan of that, Matt. And Brian Fury. Get hyped. Come on down.
I feel like you're a big Brian Fury fan. You mentioned him earlier.
Things are character design. He's pretty cool.
Yoshimitsu, though, you'll notice that they go to his Tekken 3 look because they didn't want to do all the weird insect looks after that. They're just like, nah, the third one's fine. Just go into a Halloween pop-up store, just pick out whatever you want, slap that on him. We then cut to the training montage of everyone working out at the WCW power plant. Jin wanders into this training facility and he babbles something embarrassing about Christy's toes. And that's our introduction to Jin talking to Christy. What do you think about Jin and Christy together as an item?
Backstage, all the other characters train and treat Jin like a bitch. He then stares at Christy's feet like your average fighting game fan on Twitter. Jin has all the charisma of the postman who doesn't knock on your door and dumps your parcel in the bin and puts a slip through the postbox.
I have Jin has the charisma of a filing cabinet. That was my version, but I like
that's good as well. We all like a filing cabinet now and again. The characters get reintroduced so they can do some taunts like they're fighters. Hey, this is more like it. Jin's like, oh, I'm going to puke so badly. I'm so nervous. So he's both a rookie and untrained and a fucking badass.
First match, Eddie versus Raven. And the moment this match starts, Eddie starts mashing buttons and tons of fucking moves come out. So therefore, this is the most accurate video game movie of all time.
Yeah. I've also then put Raven wins, which is why this film is categorized as fantasy.
What does Raven win with, though? Does he win with mounted punches? Get used to that, because that's how 50% of all matches are won with that. Are there mounted punches in Tekken? Yes. There's several characters who can do them. Paul Phoenix does one. I think
Marduk, I think.
Marduk, that would make sense. But every character, regardless of if you specialize in ninjutsu, sambo, kung fu, you're gonna win with mounted punches, arm locks, leg locks, or head bars. When I'm watching this, I was like, I completely forgot about that. I was like, oh yeah, there's gonna be one or two moves. No one does any move that I really recognize, like from the game. How did you find this fight went overall? It was a quick one, but were you entertained?
Yeah, but what they're doing, they're not dragging these out. It's like get your high spots and leave. It's how wrestling should be.
That's true. They're not dragged out where it's like boring.
Right, and honestly though, with Tekken, it's not like other 2D fight or 3D fighting games where it's like, I'm going to yell my move, you know. Spider-Man going, see you later, wherever the whip. It's more like the style of fighting it and the combos done. So I was expecting to see many of the moves. I'm sure there were a few offenses here and there, but Tekken's more, to me anyway, I could be completely wrong here. I'm sure there'll be people going, what are you talking about? But the sequence and stringing and the combos and the juggling and all those mechanics, rather than like, oh, he did the thing. Unless we're going to see Heihachi do the electric noogie that he does.
Yeah. So, or his little power bomb that he does, electric power bomb. You're right, because it's not like Street Fighter where it's like, oh, I want to see a Dragon Punch or whatever. But it is like, the combos and the juggles and things like that. But you don't even really get that. I think they're kind of put between a rock and a hard place here in terms of fight choreography. So what was blowing up at the time? MMA. Let's just kind of sort of do a play on that. Miguel Roja, a Tekken 6 character, and he's against Jin. What did you think of this fight?
I had to check who Miguel was supposed to be,
because even though there's only one like the character.
Even though there's only one Miguel in all of Tekken.
Yeah.
He thrashes Jin, until Miguel yells, "This is Iron Fist!" And Jin is so shocked to be reminded of the name of this, he gets his rage art, and his mum reminds him he has to watch his opponent spot their attack and counterattack. Did he learn nothing from Mike Tyson's Punch-Out?
So we'll have to talk about this. We'll talk about it now then. Jin's mom's Force Ghost, right? Her Force Ghost comes in, I think, during every single fight and gives him possibly the most generic advice ever. It's not like she can say, though, like, oh, when you fight Miguel Roja, press up, down, B, and, you know, she can't say that, I get it. But at the same time, it's like, your opponent has a weakness, find it. Yeah, thanks. But the problem with this is that I'd always rather have a voiceover in his head rather than go back to a cheesy effect, like green screen effect of him and his mom training with little baby Jin and little baby Jin pants, like learning martial arts. It always looks terrible. What do you think of these little cutaways?
It would be great if instead of like martial arts advice, it's actually just the thoughts that you have when you're trying to sleep at 3 a.m. It's like, oh no, I'm getting beat up. It's like, Jin, remember that time you asked that girl out at the supermarket and she pretended not to hear you and you didn't know what to do, so you just pissed yourself? It's like, that's right, I gotta hit him in the face.
Hey, what does Jin win with in this match against Miguel Roja?
Oh, of course, yes, he gets the mounted punches, because that causes Big John McCarthy to come in and stop things. He KOs Miguel out the ring, so I thought we were going to get maybe a ring out, but no such luck.
No.
He then kills Miguel after remembering that his mum is dead. Jin nearly gets his animality, but calms down after he gets told to calm his chozwazzes.
So backstage after this fight, Kazuya meets with Jin to congratulate him, and it's at this point where we are given the barest hints of a story. For whatever reason, Jin never gives anyone his last name. He just never says it. So he's kind of like Cher or whatever. People just call him Jin, the People's Choice. Like his last name in this movie is the People's Choice. Later that night, Christy and Jin decide to go steady, and they hit the club scene to unwind. Meanwhile, Kazuya puts on his best silk robe for a casual drive down the information superhighway. He goes to Ancestry.com and reveals in about 3 seconds that Jin's mother happens to be Jun Kazama, and Kazuya is concerned by this for reasons the audience can't possibly know. It happens so quick. They go to the club lasts for like 3 seconds, then they go back to Kazuya.
Yeah, this is they looked at the running time and went, oh wait, we need to quicken it up. Sorry, you guys are losing 3 minutes of your match. Take it home early. Jin and Christy go to the bar, and she warns him killing people is bad. Jin's like, yeah, I know. I read your promo. And then they bump and grind on the dance floor before running back to the training center for hot person sex. Oh, wait, no. She has training in the morning. Bye.
I have a meeting tomorrow. Sorry.
And then some ninjas fight Jin in strobe lighting. And it's impossible to tell what's happening without getting a hernia, so I'll let Matt explain this bit.
It's 2 characters appear. There's strobe lighting, like you said. You can't, like, it actually hurts to, don't, like, do this. If you're going to do this, like, maybe have a dark room with one light source so they can go in and out of the shadows and into the light source if you want to do something kind of creatively interesting with the lighting, but it's headache inducing. Fortunately, it lasts for like 30 seconds. I do have about the club that they're in. This club, the music is blaring, the lights are intense, everyone's wearing their Matrix coats, and Maffew is furious that this is nothing like real life.
They should have been playing that crappy new metal song from the first movie.
They should have. That should have been throughout, like in every scene, have it playing in the background type of thing.
Oh, it's the only song we're allowed to listen to because of yeah, I'm not sick of it either.
Christy hears the commotion due to this assassin attack, so the 2 ninjas scamper off. Christy comes to check in on Jin. I do like that this keeps the Williams sisters, like they're both supposed to be assassins. Jin and Christy meet up with Steve, and then Steve informs Jin that his mother was once a Tekken fighter and that they both participated in tournaments years ago. Jin is flabbergasted. His hat raises and goes to the ceiling and just, why wouldn't my mother not tell me? Because she didn't tell you. Nina and Anna then go and they report their failure to Kazuya, and this is where I'm like, I know what Kazuya reminds me of. He reminds me of Joaquin Phoenix in Gladiator, Commodus, and he's always crying oh, what a nightmare I'm living through. How am I ever going to do this? Why won't my father make me CEO of Rome? Did you get any of that? I don't know. I'm a big Gladiator fan, so I don't know.
I can tell. It's a good comparison, though, because it's like, yeah, in this film, it's like, well, after Terror Wars, we owned half the planet, and it's like, well, in Rome, well, yep, looks to be sure. Let me check the map. Yep, that's us. I was going more with like, damn it, I hate my dad. I'm going to keep on crying. He says I have to pilot the jacks. The ninjas are revealed to be Tori from 2001, which is associated with Raven on SmackDown. I mean, the Williams sisters. Kazuya is like, you women stink. He's still alive. By the way, have I mentioned I want to kill my dad?
It's now day 2 of the tournament. It's Christy versus Nina, because Nina was just in the scene prior. So that's why she has to come out. So hot lady versus hot lady. Joey Styles screaming at the top of his fucking lungs.
Christy takes on Nina, killing her very quickly and easily, and saying, sorry, I don't share. They always objectify guys in these films as pieces of meat.
With that fight over, Kazuya bribes Brian to kill Jin, despite Brian was probably going to kill Jin. He's the defending champion from last year, and he is a literal killer cyborg. Do you recognize the actor that plays Brian from anything?
Oh, no, actually.
He played Kenshiro in the live-action American Fist of the North Star movie.
Oh my God.
From 1995.
No, I only remember Vader, and to a much lesser extent, Ludwig Borger being in that film.
This guy is awesome, though, the actor. He does such a great job as Brian, I feel. Like, yeah, does he look the part? Like, yeah, they gussing him up as much as they can. But they do a good job making you go, oh, I can't wait to see Brian finally fight. I can't wait for Brian. This is also the scene next, where this is weird to me. Steve Fox gives Jin his old power gloves from his days of barely able to control NES games. Why do you think they decided like there needs to be a story reason behind Jin getting his iconic gloves?
Just to make it look like they have any kind of connection. I've put Aussie English gives Jin his red rest thingies from the game, and I guess they bond because his mum is dead. And then M. Bison from the Street Fighter cartoon arrives and goes, yes, all your mums are dead. My mum's dead too, but you don't hear me whining about it. Holy shit, what a line for a kid's cartoon.
He calls them power gloves. What do? Are they robotic gloves? Do they give you an advantage? They give you a little bit of stuff, but they don't go more than that. So I don't know.
Jin, me old mucker slag. I found these on the floor. They're yours now, my son. Well, I don't know. Also, I like the very pro wrestling pro wrestling storyline of Kazuya offering $100,000 for anyone who can take him out. Anybody. Brian Fury, Uma, Raven, Kabuki.
We cut to Heihachi, who is changing the booking of this tournament mid-tournament. And it's about, what the fuck? You can't do that.
I mean, he's right. I almost hear the Tony Schiavone line going, Vince Russo has thrown out the script for the show. But I love that this is the breaking point for Kazuya, who disagrees so strongly with changing the card, which is subject to change, and decides that this is going to cause him to completely turn on his dad, which feels like when you hear one of those marriages that have been around for years ending because one of them wouldn't stop squeezing toothpaste from the top.
He goes mental. He shoots a guard, pulls the gun on, and this is his coup. And he's like, the match will go on as scheduled. I don't know why. Now, when you're playing a fighting game, right? Any fighting game, the minutia of any rules other than what are the rules to win a match, like your health bar goes down, you win the match, timeout, whatever. But like guns, explosives, or a dinosaur, or being a bear, it's all fair game in Tekken. So it's so bizarre to see a televised live action martial arts competition adaptation say, okay, but Yoshimitsu gets to use a sword. That's special Yoshimitsu booking. And you see Jin, I think Jin just looks at him and goes, Jesus. Like, he can't imagine. That's when you know that the writer of this movie was like, oh, okay, this is dumb what's happening. So he gets to add in the fact that Jin also gets to choose a weapon for this one match. Like, that's the thought process behind here. What do you think about throwing random hardcore matches at this stage of the movie?
I think they'll paint themselves into the corner. So, right, we need the recognizable characters who don't have anything to do with the main storyline of Tekken. So, of course, we have to have Yoshimitsu. I mean, look at him. Oh, wait, he has a sword. So, it's like when Parker would start off his matches in WCW with a chair.
With a chair, yeah.
He's like, hang on. So, yeah, Jin isn't... he's unlikable, but he's not dumb. So, of course, he gets a sword to fight with Yoshi. By the way, Kazuya appreciates the ratings going up for Jin's potential death. The only thing people care about more than blood is death. That's why WWE killed Keith Lee's career, Killer Cross's career, Braun Strowman's career.
Like, I'm sure that's a line that maybe on the written page sounded cooler, but a really weird line that, again, I don't think the actor pulls off. What also doesn't get pulled off is Jin's mom's Force Ghost giving more generic advice, and the advice in Yoshimitsu's case is to punch Yoshimitsu in the face as hard as you can. And it's implied that he's dead, but then there's a line later where I think Kazuya says, when the crowd thought Yoshi had died, then the ratings went sky high and big profits. But I don't get what they're talking about. Like, did he die or did he not? Because you never see Yoshi again.
Matt, can you hear? Hey, that's great. Duke woke up from his coma. The end.
Oh, I see the parachutes. Don't worry. Heihachi then decides to suddenly trip a security alarm, and the jackhammers flood the arena, and it's a DQ brawl to the back. Steve and Christy somehow are just able to grab Jin, like the guy in the center of the arena, and no one notices, and they attempt to smuggle him out, but then they are immediately caught. They are then brought to Tekken jail. How do you feel about Tekken jail? Because that's what it is. I accept no other name for this set that we're going into now.
The following actions and activities we're talking about take place across 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Kazuya was so happy with the ratings, he tells the prison fighters that all fights are now to the death. Mm-hmm. This inspires a union where they come together to beat the guards and escape. They then grab Heihachi and make a runner, despite Heihachi saying he doesn't know Jin shit.
They say to Heihachi, oh, we need him for the access codes. And then they never show what the access codes are for, if there's a door. They just say, Heihachi knows all the secret codes.
We can't kill Heihachi. He's our only way out of here. They take him out the cell and goes, you turn left and there's the exit.
Kazuya is the prime evil now, because they go to a safe house, Jin licks his wounds or whatever, and Heihachi just comes in and he's just like, all right, truth bombs, everyone, here comes all the truth. Kazuya is the bad guy. He is Jin's dad. We all knew. Even someone that doesn't know Tekken knows this by now. It's, you know, they don't exactly hide it. What I do like is that during this explanation, Heihachi goes, now Tekken has 2 possible heirs, which I like because it's a bit of a nod of what happens later in the games. Jax then break up the party, and they just recapture everyone again, and poor Steve is gunned down and never referenced again.
I'll put Aussie breakfast is killed. Heihachi is like, yeah, I remember your mum. She was great. Heihachi explains Tekken keeps humanity sane amongst the chaos or something. I don't know. It's all words and expressions meaning absolutely nothing. It reminded me of a Cody Rhodes promo.
Oh.
Heihachi tells him Kazuya is his dad, and he's also the heir to the Mishima throne. He doesn't believe him, so he advises him to play Tekken 6.
First to five.
Kazuya appears, and Heihachi tells him he doesn't understand Tekken. Same goes for the filmmakers.
They say Tekken so much in this 30 seconds that the word loses none of the meaning it has. I want Tekken. You will not get Tekken. I love Tekken. No. Give me the Tekken. I want the Tekken. Where's the Tekken? He then, Kazuya gets really frustrated. He's about to cry once again. He orders Heihachi to be dragged outside and killed. Carry Hiroyuki Tagawa then gives the line reading of his life by saying,
I am Mishima Heihachi. I am Tekken.
Kazuya completes this scene by walking away from an explosion and saying,
Heihachi is dead.
So awesome. That was legit cool. They didn't need, like, again, for every little bit of lore that they screw up or little thing that's weird and why did you change that, like, we gotta get this line in.
Heihachi is led away and killed like Gerald Robotnik in that one Sonic Adventure scene. By the way, I love how Tekken 6 opened just like that, and Namco did something with the storyline, and I agree with these thoughts that I wrote weeks ago. Yes, I did like that. That Heihachi goes, no, I'm alive, and they go, no, sod off.
We cut to the next day. It's now this. They just cut. It was like a hard cut. Like he just walks away, says, "Heihachi Mishima is dead," and then it's just like semifinals: Brian Fury versus Sergey Dragunov. And now these guys get special permission to use weapons for 30 seconds, and then they're just like, "All right, enough of that." Brian is being booked to be unstoppable the entire movie, right? So he basically squashes Dragunov with a chain-based assist. Picks up a chain at the last second because they can't figure out a way to show someone getting killed without it being too violent. And this is where I noticed how unviolent the movie really is. They always cut away when people are shot. Tekken is not a violent game. You don't see blood, but for some reason this movie, it feels like super tame, like they didn't want to show anything that much. Would you have rather this have been more violent since it's already like kind of going off the rails, or do you think it's better to stay in line with the Tekken games?
No, I never thought that the people at Tekken I played against, the characters died afterwards in this fighting tournament across the world in Holland
and in
space.
Unless it's like an ending or like a cutscene thing, or like, I don't know, someone shoots lasers or gets thrown into a volcano. Yeah. But yeah, I never got the impression that died either. But like, since this movie's all edgy with like, you know, guns and everything, I was kind of like, let's just have people's heads blow up. Like, you might as well. Like, no one's gonna see this anyway.
I think they're doing the thing where, hey, hang on, who's playing Heihachi? Oh, the dude from... Oh, and out of those fights, the guy dies. That's it. Oh, brilliant. Tekken, but with death. Because whenever there's an evil media mogul in a film, I base this entirely on Tomorrow Never Dies of Elliot Carver.
Yes,
has to be like...
Wow, what a reference. You know his name, Elliot Carver. Holy shit.
Yeah. Brian Fury fights Dragunov and wins because he's metal. And as Tenacious D told us, you cannot kill the metal.
They need to get Kazuya now, since he's the main. He's been thrust into, like, you know, Heihachi's not really there. We need to get him over as super evil in the last 20 minutes, so they squeeze so much in. He talks shit about Jun, kapows Christy right in the face, threatens to kill her if Jin refuses to fight in the last couple of matches, because we are barreling towards the main event. And that's Jin versus Brian. How do you think they got on?
Oh, I've put here before then. You're right. Kazuya threatens Christy, kicks a dog, and refuses to give a beggar some loose change. They really go all out there. Raven advises Jin to not let his rage overpower him, or he'll have to deal with his animality. We get a promo package. Just one more fight. And it is about leadership, etc., etc. Brian Fury is suddenly OP, possibly because Kofi Kingston currently cosplays as him. Jin's mum,
that's true,
who is more like a stand at this point, advises him to join the Nintendo fan club. The crowd chants for Jin like it's a Victorian alleyway. Jin uses the scenery, like in Fatal Fury 3, to curb stomp Brian to fucking death.
He jumps off the top rope. Essentially, it's like 30 feet up in the air in one shot. He runs up the environment, like you said, but there's this one shot where they're looking up, and I'm like, he must be like 50, 80 feet. Jumps off with a curb stop. That was legit awesome, though. And what was his mom's advice to beating Brian? Do you remember it?
I haven't actually typed out. I did a crappy ancient reference, but I assume it's along the way of her going, I don't want you to fight this violent because it's not how I raised you. And he goes, okay, Mom. And, you know, goes, well, if he's anything like me, and I know I am, I'll give him a double stomp. 30 feet from the air and manages to kill the robot.
Her advice to him is attack a weak point. What was Brian's weak point? His face? Because he kicked him a bunch, he barely moved, so I don't know. Brian did wrap his bullet bandoliers around his fists. So that's big Volgan vibes from MGS3, which I was very happy to see.
I like her advice. It's like, you ever seen that info screenshot that gets passed around Doom meme pages that says something like, fire rockets at the demon until his health decreases.
Shoot the cyber demon until it dies.
Oh, that's it, fuck. If you're going to quote something, Maffew, make sure you butcher it completely.
During this fight, though, this is the part I love. All the lame characters in the bar that are watching this on TV, they try to get a Jin chant going, and it almost fails. Because all the actors in the bar, they cut to him pretty much in every match, and they're all woeful. Every single one of them. They're just... don't even have them. Just cut them out of the movie. You had the opening scene with them. That's fine. You don't need to get the people in the bar like more screen time.
I thought that was going to be it. They were going to go quick, Jin, everybody off camera. Wang, Zayu, Panda, come, what's the fight? You know.
Oh, King, please, King, God. Kazuya throws a massive tantrum, smashes a case open, grabs battle axes, and demands to fight Jin right now.
Yeah, just like a fighting game. He unlocked the secret Kazuya fight because he hasn't lost a round. Also, Kazuya points out, aha, Jin, coming here means that you can control Tekken. Explain how.
Money can be exchanged for goods and services.
Woo. Kazuya notices the lust for revenge, woo, in Jin, and makes it something like, yeah, you want to kill me. Ha ha ha. You have the Mishima gene, like father, like son. And not the fact that he's trying to kill him with axes. He dropped me off a cliff. Yeah. Yeah, we're
they
good.
never talk about it. They never talk about any cliff throwing or volcano throwing or anything.
Yeah. You have your father's eyes. What? Yeah. You have the demon in you. Dude, you got axes. I'm gonna kick you in the face. Also, you look like Mac from Always Sunny in Philadelphia doing Dayman.
He does. Holy shit, he reminded me of someone. I couldn't quite place it. Kazuya's about to finish Jin off. Christy then just steals guns and just shoots in every direction. It's a big distraction. So distracting that Kazuya was in mid-swing with the axe and goes, wah! Make sure to look up. That gives Jin a moment to grab an axe and chops Kazuya in the belly welly. He then refuses to kill Kaz for some reason. We're not really told why, because he just goes, oh, the Mishima bloodline is yours, not mine, I guess. At which point, Christy awkwardly comes into the ring, and you can hear the crowd coughing. It's so silent.
It was great, yeah, because Christy shoots some jacks, Jack 6 and Jack 5, I believe, which distracts Kazuya. Yeah, which distracts... Oh, Gunjack, very good. Which distracts Kazuya, allowing Jin to get the distraction finish. And he's a baby face? Jin then declines to kill Kazuya, saying it's his curse, not his. Which I guess is... I'll give them, a bit of credit here. That's what they're trying to do with his mum, saying, I don't want you going out there and just killing people willy-nilly. Maybe you'll turn into a devil. Say, all right.
Jin.
Yes, that's my name. Why do you say it like that? That's very weird.
I thought your last name was the People's Choice.
That's right. You do that thing with the eyebrow. Christy then explains to the audience, hey guys, this is Jin Mishima. So he owns Tekken now, okay? The crowd go, all right. And all I'm thinking is, would it be great if he went, no, that's a bunch of bullshit. You haven't got anything to prove that. Where's the birth certificate? Yeah, get on the stage, you crazy lady.
Would it actually pass to him? It's one thing if he kills the other two, so there's no one left. But like, wouldn't the CFO of Tekken get that? Like, why would it pass? He didn't even know that Jin existed. He wouldn't be in the will or the documentation. There's so many things wrong with this.
There's a little cool bit where he goes, all right, well, I guess I'm gonna leave. I know the exit. It only takes 2 minutes from the main arena to the outside.
Yeah.
I've still got time for not having to pay extra to get my car park sorted out. I'll leave now. And then Jin leaves the building, and all the jacks are like, we serve you. He's like, I don't care. He leaves
he walks away.
He leaves the Mishima with a voiceover explaining freedom was released and Mishima became a good guy for good things. And it's literally the end of A Christmas Carol. And Jin Mishima was more than a man of his word. He changed his ways.
This is also where I booed, because I really wanted him to like look at all the jacks and then realize like, holy shit, I'm the fucking boss. And,
like Tekken 6.
Become evil Jin and become like that. Oh, I booed at the screen. I do have to make note, when Jin walks out, he puts on a coat. He puts on his Tekken 4 hoodie coat. Because you can see,
I didn't get that.
When the camera goes behind, it has the flame design. And that's just a dumb like reference to Tekken 4, and he has like a little hood. Because Jin's supposed to turn into a bad guy, but like you said, the voiceover from Christy is like, you know, he gave all the children all the gifts that day, you know? Did you watch the full credits?
No.
So you did not watch the
Oh, is there a bit at the end?
You did not watch...
Really? 2 seconds, 2 seconds. Okay, not that bad. Oh, it's day, man. Okay, Heihachi's on his knees. I am Mishima Heihachi. I am Tekken. That's right, yeah.
Right.
You will obey. And then the Gunjack's like, error, son of self-terminate. Oh, he's not dead.
He's not dead.
Like in Tekken 6.
Like in Street Fighter, the Van Damme, for years and years, decades, I didn't know there was a post-credit scene where it says Bison decides to survive. So that's amazing. All that happened, remember, was Kazuya walked away from an explosion. So that's all that happened. We never heard a gunshot. We never saw his dead body. So it's safe to assume
and there we go. Positives. The look and style of the fights in the arena and them changing the backgrounds, which they did and showed it in some scenes and then didn't for others. But I appreciate the effort there. It at least looked like they spent some money on it. Again, the characters looking like the characters. It cannot be over or understated. I don't know. If you're going to do an adaptation of something, at least it has to resemble the thing it looks like. And they did a very good job of what they had. Again, Hachi isn't perfect, but outside of, you know, getting an actual hair like that. I mean, Van Damme didn't have the Guile haircut either, just saying.
No, he didn't.
So I would say that. Positives, no actors who played Darth Maul on rollerblades yelling, I'm Heihachi Mishima!
I'm the new king of Tekken!
King of Tekken! What were your positives?
Much the same. The fights in general were good. Like I said, there's a bit too shaky and edit. Kevin Dunn like directed some shots of them, so I didn't really like that. But the actual look, all the characters looking pretty accurate to the games, I appreciated. I think overall there's a competency into how everything is shot and stuff. Like it's exciting most times, at least. I mean, that's essentially it. There is a level of competency here, but the thing with me, in terms of negatives, the actor that plays Jin and the actor that plays Kazuya just don't do it for me. You need your main hero to have some type of charisma, and like John Fu as Jin does not have it. Looks the part, but he's so boring just to listen to. Kazuya he is also kind of boring. You want Raul, Julia, and Bison. You need someone to ham it up a little, chew the scenery a little bit. Tagawa as Heihachi does an amazing job. Is he a lot like how he acts as Shang Tsung? Yeah, but he's more honorable. He's a little more, nice compared to that. But it was great that he was in this. And the only other thing is, like, I'm trying to improve the movie that they did make. So please swap out Miguel and Dragunov for maybe Paul Phoenix and King. How would they have done King's mask? How would they have made that work?
I don't know. There's this it's not that well known in terms of video games or influence in wrestling, but there was a guy called Tiger Mask.
Tiger Mask, yeah. But in the games,
they could have studied his matches and go, this guy's a lot like King.
In terms of fighting game movies, I would rank this above King of Fighters, above Dead or Alive, if you've seen that.
Not yet.
Oh, I'm going to make you. Above Legend of Chun-Li, for absolutely sure. I think that's kind of the worst. That's basically my summary of it. Would you like to know that there was a sequel to this?
I was aware, but
I did not know this until about a year ago.
All right.
Where a fan said, "Oh, did you know about this? Tekken 2 Kazuya's Revenge." Now, what do you think a movie called Tekken 2 Kazuya's Revenge would be about? Like, what is its general story thrust after this movie?
Well, Matt, with a name like that, I imagine Kazuya wants his empire back.
No, because it's a prequel. It is somehow a prequel, despite it being called Kazuya's Revenge. I do not know this for sure. People have told me this was another martial arts movie that they filmed and then said, oh, we still have the rights to Tekken. Then refilmed scenes and changed names to make it a prequel/sequel. I did not have enough time to look it up, but at least several people told me about that. And I'm like, ooh, I'm going to watch this. It again stars Ian Anthony Dale as Kazuya, and Tagawa returns as Heihachi.
I've had a look at Wikipedia, and what you said is correct. Manly Movie gave the film a 3 out of 10, saying, it's like the producers and writers have no idea who these characters are, and had no intention of giving a crap, but revised that certain actors were free for cameo, so use them. Well, I believe them. Until you point a gun at me and go, damn it, get in the Tekken pod.
I have a little bit of trivia.
Oh, please.
Leading into the like announcement of this movie, or like after its announcement, there were rumors going around that while filming, that King was going to be in this movie, and he was going to be portrayed by one Dave Bautista. Would have loved that. I don't know if Dave would have wanted to have his face covered by a jaguar mask. Maybe he's into that. I don't know. Craig Marduk was also supposed to be in the movie, or was rumored to be in the movie, and he was going to be played by Nathan Jones.
But that's who he's based on.
Exactly.
So that's a Dennis Rodman playing the character in Dead or Alive that is based on Dennis Rodman's situation, surely.
I'd like to think so. When asked about this movie, Tekken producer / Godfather, Harada, had this to say: that Hollywood movie is terrible. We were not able to supervise that movie. It was a very cruel contract. I am not interested in this movie. End quote.
It should have been even more sarcastic. He goes, that film wasn't released. It escaped.
I was very happy to see this wasn't like as dreadful as I was kind of dreading. When I saw it initially, I was like, this was fine. I wasn't expecting a lot. But so watching it again, I was like, oh, it's probably going to be really boring. But I had a good time with it. I hope you did too, since this was your first watch.
I'll say the same. I had at least fun and went, no, there's some positive bits, as I've just said, all two of them earlier on. But it's got to suck if you're like, all right, cool, here's a fighting game, and I want to make a film of it. And you're like, all right, well, what's the plot? There's a tournament.
A fighting game.
Profit. I'm like, oh, fuck, all right. So I appreciate when they change stuff to go, all right, I'm trying to make it interesting. But it's funny, and I can appreciate, like, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, as we said, OSW, it sucks because they're like, let's fit in that whole thing about, wait, Overworld and Earthrealm. Overworld? No, that's a theme from... That's a theme from Final Fantasy X, I beg your pardon. Earthrealm and... Oh, fuck it, the Shadow Realm. I'm tired. I'm merging together. Netherrealm Studios. Yeah, there we go. We're just fucking up all the names. Whatever it is, Shao Kahn's lair and Earth are merging together, and we have to show this. And we show this by people running around and the sky turning purple. You're like, okay, we don't have to stick to these scripts entirely because we know it happens in the game, but we're making a film and we're trying to be interesting about it. So I'll give them that. Look, it's better than that. However, the thing with Tekken is, if it was just kept simple and it was just the story of, hey, remember when you threw me off that bastard cliff? I'm like,
yeah.
And Heihachi can be, one of those dudes who goes, you have to narrow it down, pal. I've thrown a lot of people off a lot of cliffs. I've done a lot of defenestrations as well. I mean, my son!
I had a cliff throwing this afternoon. You have to be more specific.
Yeah. We'll do it like Guess Who. How tall are you? What's your hair color?
I almost feel if they tried to adapt Tekken 2 or Tekken 1 again, and then when they did a sequel, do this movie. You could have, all the world building would have been out. You didn't have to like explain it all and kind of muck it up, and that might have been a little bit better. But I am interested in seeing Kazuya's revenge now, just to see like what does a prequel look like? How is it his revenge if it's a prequel? That makes I'm keen to look at it.
Well, that makes one of us.
Maffew, where can internet people find you on the internet?
I prefer if they didn't. You can find me on Twitter at MAFFEWGREGG. You used to say like Jeff Jarrett, but then Jeff Jarrett became an actual star again. Who saw that coming? And yeah, it's easiest if you just search for Botch Mania on YouTube, because wacky copyright click, that's so silly. So find me on there. I also contribute to Cultaholic, a lovely bunch of bastards, and sometimes OSW need me when everybody else is unavailable.
Thank you so much for doing this. Had a great time as always. If there is a fighting game movie, or video game movie specifically, that you ever want to watch on anything, please do let me know. I want to get in. I need it. It's just, I thirst for it every so often. Like every 6 months, I'm like, I really want to force someone or have someone force me to watch a video game movie. So do let me know.
Matt, what is your favorite Tekken theme?
Moonlight Wilderness, Tekken 5.
That's a spectacularly dramatic theme.
But also Jin's theme in Tekken 3, Lei Wulong's theme in Tekken 3, Paul Phoenix's, a lot of Tekken 3, and a bit of Tekken 5 usually. That's my go-to. If there's really good banger tunes in like Tekken 6 and 7, I don't know them just because I haven't played the games enough to know. That's
a good one. I was going to go with either the Alex and Roger theme from Tekken 2, or I'll go with the amazing Jin theme from Tekken 3.
I will pick one of those to be our outro music, and it'll be a surprise which one.